Hello friends, welcome to Salesforce CMAtics video session 112. So basically in today's video, we will actually try to understand, what is the meaning of save with propagation and save without propagation. So many times you must have seen in data flow that, you must have seen in my session as well that a pop-up window used to come up whenever I used to select certain fields, and especially, if there was certain nodes like the augment node or, keep and drop node where you get that particular dialog box, right? So what's the meaning of that? It's a very simple meaning, but we can still cover in the session. That's completely fine. So first of all, let me go to the Analytics Studio. Here, let me go to Data Manager. Uh, Let me go to the Manage Data Flow, and here basically I was dealing with this free session 6, right, where I explained you about the keep and drop node. Now, of course, we will try to understand with this one of the augment node as well. So maybe let me just check where we did that part. Maybe I can open the session too. Let me just check very quickly. Okay, not over here. I think it will be session 3. Not session 3, session. I think in one of the session we covered the augment node, right? So we will take that help as well. I think this is append node. That's fine. Yeah, I think this is the one. Okay, so yeah, we can do something over here. So yeah, we will walk through both the sessions. So firstly, what I want to tell you is, like, here, for example, you have this slice data set, right, where you have the keep and drop node. Okay, now for example, currently, if so at the end of the day, of course, we kept name and stage name, right? That was the ultimate thing. So if I open this data set, you will see the name and stage name. That's fine. Now with this being put as keep, right? So what I will do is simultaneously I will open that data set as well. Now here, if you see, we only see the name and stage name, isn't it? Now what we are going to do is here, for example, if I select some other fields, okay, let's say I selected something like, for example, let me check what, yeah, for example, let's say I want to select the account ID, okay. So now when I selected the account ID, which was not present initially, now if I click on save, you see one message pops up, isn't it? So first of all, let's read this message and try to understand. Propagate field changes. You added or remove fields in this node. Do you want analytics to make the same field change in downstream open as slide data? If it can, what it's saying is field that you added are added to the right field attribute in augment. Okay, we will talk about this augment node in that next data flow. But for now, let's consider the slice dataset nodes, and to the fields attribute in slice dataset node set to keep mode. So currently my slice dataset is in keep mode, right? Fields that you removed are removed from the right field. That's fine on the augment, and from the field attributes in slice dataset node. So when you are adding, it basically sets to keep mode, right? So basically whatever keep mode will be, that will be added. And if you are removing something, then it's basically also removed from the slider. So we understand. Currently we are adding something, isn't it? So now if I click on propagate, right? So if I click on propagate, now if I come to this slice data set, you see automatically this account ID got added over here. Okay, because I had that kept. So when I click on save with propagation, it will automatically propagate that. Okay, now let's select one more example. So for, let's say, now this account ID, if I select this, for example, the contact ID, okay, so I selected the contact ID, and now if I click on save, so earlier I just clicked on propagate, for which, on the keep mode, you saw that it got propagated. Now if I click on save without propagation, right, what it will happen is on the keep mode, okay, so I'm not selecting anything separately. On the keep mode, you see that contact ID didn't get propagated. Okay, so that's the thing about uh, keep mode. Fine. Now I hope that is clear. So basically, whenever it is a keep mode, and if you select any new fields from the preceding nodes, what will happen is if you click on propagate, it will, so whatever that field is, that will come up in that keep node. But if you click on save without propagation, it will not propagate. That's the basic difference. Now let's understand from a drop node perspective. Okay, so now if I click on save, as you can see here, when I click on drop mode, right? So basically, like, there are a lot of fields, but these are the fields which are not there. Okay, so you won't find name, stage name, and account ID. So now if I go to this final data set, I won't find the name, stage name, or even the account ID. Okay, so as you can see here, it's not there. Okay, I don't see the account ID, also don't see the stage name. Okay, that's fine. Now with this three, being kept in drop mode, what I'm going to do is from here, once again, let's say I select one more fields. Okay, for example, let's say we select something like maybe campaign ID. Okay, so if I select campaign ID, okay, now if I click on save, sorry, if I click on save, now if I click on propagate over here, fine, if I click on propagate, you will see that under drop node it's not getting propagated. Okay, so that's how it is. Like when you click on propagate, if you're adding something on the drop node, it won't be added because you are ultimately not dropping. Fine, so that's one thing. And in that case, if you even if you click save without propagation or save with propagation, it really won't matter, because here, for example, now if I select something like uh, let's say 𝑘𝑢𝑠𝙂, okay, I select this field called 𝑘𝑢𝑠𝙂, and if I click on save, and if I click on save without propagation, okay, now if you see, so basically when it is keep mode, of course that propagate and save without propagation matters, because whichever field you selected, if it is in keep mode in the slice dataset, basically that field will get added over there, and if you click on save without propagation, that field won't get added in the keep mode. But when it comes to drop mode, it doesn't matter. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you click on propagate or save without propagation, as we have seen in this example. Okay, so that's the thing about this propagation and save without propagation when it comes to the slice data set. Okay, that's what the definition was also saying. Now, coming back to this, so finally here you will see all those campaign ID, contact ID. Okay, yeah, you see the campaign ID, you see the 𝑘𝑢𝑠𝙂. So basically for campaign ID, as you must have seen, I selected propagate, and for 𝑘𝑢𝑠𝙂 I selected, but it doesn't matter. At the end of it, it ended up over here. Okay, that's the thing about that one. Now, understanding from a augment perspective. Okay, for example, we have this account file, I mean we have this account and opportunity. Okay, and here I have the account as well as the opportunity, or let me take this one, that is opportunity and account. Okay, now what happens is, for example, from account, if I select a new field, okay, let's say I select something like industry. Okay, so if I select industry from here, and if I click on save, let's read it one more time. Fine, so fields that you added are added to the right fields attribute in augment node, and to the fields attribute, that's fine for the slide, you removed are removed from right key and right fields attribute. So whatever are added in the right fields, right, those will get added if I add something. So for example, here for this industry, if I click on propagate, okay, you see when I click on propagate, this is the particular augment node, right? So here if I open it up, so as you can see, this industry got automatically added in the right fields. That's what it meant. Okay, now the same thing, let's say if I select something from account, and if I don't click on propagate, so for example, let's say I select the annual revenue. Okay, and if I click on save, I click on save without propagation, so you won't see that getting propagated over here. You see, I added that particular uh, annual revenue, but on the right field section, it's not getting propagated because I clicked on save without propagation. Fine, that's the thing about it. Now let's consider if we have to remove something, like that is also another example we have to take. Okay, so yeah, this is the straight cut. I mean, this is something, for example, even if I select one more thing, uh, let's say account number, if I click on save, so that is what it's saying. You added or removed fields. You want to add this. Okay. Fields that you are added to the right fields that you added are added to the right fields attribute in augment node. So when it comes to adding something, you already understood it gets added, as we have already seen in the right fields. Okay. Now we will consider the fields which are removed, and once again we will revisit this definition. Okay. So now when you are removing something, what it is saying is that you remove from right key and right fields attributes in augment node, and from the field attribute in slice dataset node. So what we will do is, basically here we will remove something right now. So for example, if I click on account, okay, and let's say I will remove this particular field called uh, you know industry only. Let's say if I want to remove this field called industry. Now if I click on delete and if I click on save, I'm removing something, right? So what will happen if I click on propagate? So when I removed industry and if I click on propagate, you see automatically here the industry gets removed, right? So the industry get removed when I clicked on propagate. Okay, from the right fields, as you can see here, from the right fields it got removed. Now the same thing, what I will do is, so currently we have the name, right? So now let's say that name, if I just delete, okay, and if I click on save, and if I, or let's do one thing before clicking on name. Let me click on cancel. Let me just add one particular field called billing country, and then we will remove it. Okay. So in that way, it will become a bit easier. Let's say if I add billing country save, I will propagate. So since I propagated this, of course, this is added in the right fields as we already spoke. Now what I will do is the same thing. I will just delete the billing country. Okay. And I will click on save. Now, this time, what I will do is, of course, we understood when we click on propagate for that industry it got removed. I will click on save without propagation. Okay. Now, what happens is here, if you see, it didn't get removed when you click on save without propagation, when it is on the right side of your outbound node. And when you click on save without propagation, it didn't get removed. Okay. So that is something you have to take into consideration. Now, in this case, if I run the data flow, it will throw an error because it's not able to fetch that billing country in the first place. Okay. So definitely will throw an error and the data flow won't run successfully. So here you have to be careful. If you're removing something, you always have to go for propagation. You don't have any other option. But because if you can save with the propagation, what is happening? The field which was already propagated earlier, that is still there and it's just removed from the preceding node. Okay. So that's how it is. So in this case, it will throw an error. Okay. So yeah, that's what it is about this augment node. Okay. Now coming back to this one once again, what will happen? So for example, if I have something in keep mode, so I have this name stage, and let's say I just want the name and stage as of now. Okay. So I want the name and stage as of now in the keep mode. And what will happen if I remove something, right? So for example, let's say I remove the stage name from here. Okay. Or let's do one thing. Let's keep a few more. Let's say I keep account ID as well as I keep amount. Okay, let this four be there. That's fine. So I have all these four name, statement, account and amount. Now we will test with account ID. For example, this account ID, what I will do is I will probably remove this right now, this account ID. Okay. So now when I click on account ID, if I click on propagate, right? So if you see over here, basically that account ID also got removed under keep mode. When I click on propagate, if I remove something, that account ID also got removed from there. Now what happens if I click on amount? Okay, so if I delete the amount from here and if I click on save and if I click on save without propagate, okay, so here if you see the amount still remains. So under keep mode, what happens if you are removing something, you have to click on propagate to ensure it gets removed from the keep mode. But if you click on save without propagation, again here it will throw an error because it got removed from the preceding node but it didn't get removed from the keep node. Okay, now let's understand from the drop perspective. So for example, let's say once again I click on name, stage name. Let's say I select close date. Okay, and I select the campaign ID. So I've selected two new fields, that is close date and campaign ID over here under drop. Okay, I'm clicking on save. So I have name, stage name, close date and campaign ID. What I will do is this close date I will now remove from here. Okay, so I have this close date I will remove from here. And once again, when I click on save, let's say I click on propagate. So once I click on propagate, as you can see from the drop, it got removed, right? From the drop, that closed date got removed and you don't see it over here. Now, for the campaign ID, I will do the other way. I will click on save without propagation. So let's say remove the campaign ID, okay? And I click on save without propagation. So you can see over here that the campaign ID still remains under the drop node, okay? So yeah, that's the whole thing about this concept of save with propagation and save without propagation. Sometimes you have to be careful. There are certain calculations where you may be needing that particular value, but you may not need it ahead. So you have to analyze like whether you want to go with save with propagation or save without propagation. With save with propagation, what happens in the further nodes, it will just get added up in the data set, whichever fields you have selected. But sometimes you may need in some certain nodes and you may not need in the final data set. In that case, you have to carefully choose whether you want to propagate that in the final or whether you just want to save with the propagation and just ensure it's there in the next node. Okay. So that's how it works out. This is the way it kind of turns around. So I hope that part is clear to you now. For example, once again, if I select something and now what I will do is, let's say remove randomly anything. Let's say remove is one. Okay. So now I will just copy this definition. You can always go to that learn mode and I will just paste this once again in the notepad plus plus just to ensure we all understand the definition properly over here. So here what I will do is I will just paste it over here and maybe we can just read it once. You added or removed fields in this node. So in that particular node where you have added, you have removed, and this is the way it basically turns around. Fine. So yeah, that's it about this video. I hope you liked it, and it was a simple definition, but I hope it makes sense. Yeah, let's meet very soon in our next one. Thank you.